ASEAN Breakfast Call Dialogue, widening your horizons.
Hello and welcome back to Durian ASEAN. This is Gowri.
Hi, this is Grace.
And as always, it's Anything Can Happen Friday, and we try to bring you the best and most interesting topics to discuss, especially in terms of local talents in the country. And Christmas was just yesterday.
Yes, I can't believe it passed so fast.
And did you have fun?
Well, of course I had. I had lots of fun with you guys.
Yes, that's true. And of course, today's topic, we're going a little different this time. We are running a slot on the local fashion industry, and we have invited someone as well who will be sharing his thoughts with us. So let's say hello to Justin.
Hello.
Hi guys.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Very well, thank you. It's a beautiful morning.
So tell us about yourself, Justin. Where are you from? What do you do? What's your background?
Sure. Hello everyone. My name is Justin Yap. I'm from KL. Was born here, bred here. Mm-hmm. I'm a fashion designer, and under my own label, Justin Yap. I have a few labels under my wings. Mainly Justin Yap Prestige, which is the couture made-to-order line. I have Justin Yap Collection, which is a ready-to-wear line, and Justin Yap Men, which is men, obviously.
Well, you have a few branches.
Well, basically, it's just to kind of, it's like a collective, and I prefer to do it that way.
So does it mean that you
everything
have
under
a
one
different
label.
touch? Your touch when it
Yeah,
comes
of course,
to different
of course.
categories?
I started out with just an eponymous label, and I thought to just put in that an extra kick on the back. It's more interesting.
I see.
Yeah.
But then, out of all those branches you have, what is your main focus when it comes to fashion?
Well, the goal is the aesthetic is always the same.
I see,
less
yeah.
is more.
Uh-huh.
I like simplicity, with very good tailoring and detailings. Yeah.
Did you study fashion?
Funnily, I did study fashion, but not. Sorry, I did tailoring course
Okay.
back in 2004, right after I graduated from high school.
Okay.
I was working for a while with my uncle, who was a fashion designer. Now he's more like a lifestyle entrepreneur. He has a really beautiful shop, which I'm based there. I rent a little corner, so that's where I run my atelier. Over the past 2 years, started from 2004, I did tailoring course. So with a local couturier, Cavanong, so he's really skilled.
Cavanong.
Yeah, he
So
was
very
my.
renowned
Yeah, he's
Malaysian
very
designer.
renowned
Yeah.
in bridal and evening. So I've learned my, the skills from him, and he had an amazing tutor back then. Yeah.
So from there, but you did not have like a formal college degree in fashion design?
No. I was just all the way.
So you just worked your
self-taught,
way
yeah.
from there?
Well, I started liking fashion when I was 12.
Okay.
Or maybe younger. I don't know. Back then, teenagers will buy. I don't know what would they buy. I bought magazines. I bought Vogue, Harper's Bazaar. Those were my toys back then. So from there, you was reading like, first few pages always like Prada, Gucci, Armani, and all that. So you kind of get exposed to what you see, and then from there, my interest got a little bit more intense, and I thought, oh, really, I want to do this. So I was lucky enough to know what I want, and I pursued it.
At such a young age,
At
that
a very
I think
tender
most
age,
people
yeah.
are still struggling at like 30. They still
Yeah.
don't know
I
what they
mean,
want from life.
I talk to people who are in their 20s and they have no clue what they want to do, and sometimes I feel bad. I'm trying to help them, also, but for myself, I feel that I'm really lucky to know what I really want to do.
I'm curious to know when you figure out what you wanted to do at the age of 12, how did you do your research? Like, so I'm going to be a fashion designer. Is that going to work? And will my parents be okay with that? Like, all
Yeah,
these
that's always the
questions
concern when it comes to parents. My dad wasn't really happy with it because back then, probably he was kind of worried that will I be able to make it in this world of something little called fashion, because to some people it's quite it's a funny thing. It's not an industry that you go in and make lots of money, but also I think times have changed. there's always a little voice behind my back, you know, when I was young, keep telling me, you can do this, you can really do this, and this is what you have to do, because there's nothing else I could think of right now.
And also at the same, people have this mindset where fashion industry is mainly feminine dominated industry. So when a male actually steps into this feminine dominated industry, then people are concerned, especially your families, you know, whether you'll be able to break through this particular industry that you will be in. Yeah.
I suppose that's the mindset back then, you know. I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
times have changed.
Yeah, but
and,
of course,
you know.
yes.
Well, how did you overcome that, or was that an issue when you were starting out as a fashion designer?
I remember telling my mom that, you know, if you're against what I do, probably you see me on the streets in the future.
Right.
And then I guess that's how I just ignored the whole thing and went with my instincts instead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was more of a self encouragement.
Yeah. I guess if you don't encourage yourself, you can't do this. You know, you cannot expect people to push you in many ways, you know. Sometimes I think a lot of people needs motivation, but I guess it all starts within yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
And being in the fashion industry itself, what sets it apart from other industries? What makes it so special?
I think Anna Wintour once said on her documentary, there's something about fashion that makes people very nervous. And I agree with that, because a lot of people are afraid of making mistakes. You know, you don't want to be a victim. You want to be someone who looks stylish. I think fashion is what you buy, but style is what you do with it.
Okay, that's a very interesting quote.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I like quotes like that, you know. It just reminds you of, you know, something. And it's like motivational talks or that. I think a quote is more what do you call that? It's more intense, you know. You know it and then you remember it. Yeah.
And the fashion keeps changing, you know, it evolves. It has its own cycle. You know, it was like trendy fashion at you know, in 2014, but 2015 it will be different. So you need to have a sort of sharp eye, and you need to open your eyes and ears to see what's going around. But then you at the same time you need to have your own signature in your fashion.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you actually come about with I will call challenges, you know, because you have to balance both. So how do you do that?
I think having to carve a signature is the toughest thing for a designer. It's the toughest. For me, I somehow sometimes you are what you eat. You know, that's what they say. But you are what you design as well.
Yep.
But sometimes you don't know it. It's like a bad habit. You know, like some people like scratching their forehead without them realizing. So it's the same thing. So when you design something that you feel that it's very you, then it technically becomes something that you do all the time. For me, I like my silhouettes, you know, the fit and flare. I like the mermaids and, you know, the belted silhouette. I started out with contrast color like black and turquoise. Turquoise is one of my signature tone, as you can see from my business card and the label and everything. I think colors are very important because they make how you feel today. Like see, Grace, you're wearing mustard, which is an awesome tone, and Gowri, you're wearing pink, you know, which is very good for your skin tone. So I think colors make people happy. I believe in color therapy. So that's how I started out with a lot of jewel tones, and that's how I'm known for, you know, my bright colors. But over the years, I kind of like exploring new things and new elements in terms of design. So I've started a lot of muted tones, you know. At the end of the day, you want your customers to feel that you're evolving, not just stagnant and stay there, you know. This year has been particularly really busy for all of us. I started out a bridal line. So I have a bridal line now, which I've always wanted to do. With a bigger team now, I'm able to create, you know, more dresses.
But isn't that another like, you know, step level of when it comes to designing? Because bridal line is like, it's totally it is a dress, but it's different.
Tougher than the usual.
I guess being a designer, you just have to be a chameleon, especially in Malaysia. You know, you just have to try different things. A lot of people say that, oh, you're doing men's line, you're doing this and that. Can you manage? I say, well, you have to listen to your heart, right? If you say you can't do it, then you can't do it. I guess designing bridal dresses are not that much different than designing other dresses or menswear, because the goal is to make people look beautiful.
Yep.
You know, may he be he or she. I guess designing bridal wear, it's a little bit more interesting because it's a very interesting process. Because you walk through the bride to be, it's one of the most amazing,
kind of like the highlights
of their life, you know. So you want them to feel that they look their best, you know. And I have had brides, you know, when they have their bridal moment, when they put on the dresses, you know, when they come for fittings, and usually the second fitting, it hits them.
Right.
Yeah, I remember one just pleasant tears, but happy tears, you know, and she was really happy with the dress.
And that gives you the fulfillment?
Yeah, of course. As
designer.
a creator, as a designer, you know, looking at our work on a person and they feel so happy about themselves and in what they're wearing. It just, the contentment is just beyond words, really.
But speaking of handling a lot of lines as well, you said, yes, you have to follow your heart. If you think you can do it, you can do it. But there will be some people who also say, you know, being the master of the
jack of all trades and
master
master of none. I don't believe that, you know. No.
So it's possible to have a lot of things going on and still give it your all.
Yeah, I guess you just have to keep very focused in what basically it's a business, so what makes the most money. Obviously you want to support your own life as well, so you go ahead with that. And right now I feel that this year I really wanted to do the bridal line because it's something that I've always talked about, I've always wanted to do.
I see.
And that's how I do it.
How long have you actually been in the industry?
Well, if I started in 2004, I started my business in 2008 maybe. Yeah. So right after, but I was doing a lot of competition. I won several awards. I was doing MIFA back then in 2005. I won the Best Evening Wear award. Although I didn't win the Most Promising Designer, but I was happy because evening wear is what I really, really wanted to do. And yeah, that's how I started. I was offered a few jobs from a few local establishments, but I decided to do my own because an opportunity came by and I never looked back since.
Quite an amazing achievement. Someone who had always had a passion in fashion, but then you really didn't have a proper course, but then you took your own time to study all of it, and then managed to until now you managed to have your own branches and the different lines. It's very amazing. And then
I'm sure discount when she goes to your
store. I'm sure there are a lot of ups and downs, you know, along the way, because even in the fashion industry, I believe it's very competitive, and the more I will say talented youngsters are coming up with their own unique style. So how do you actually, I will say, compete against the upcoming designers?
Is it a very competitive industry to begin with?
Oh yeah, of course. If, well, when I started out, there wasn't a lot of, I mean, the talents were there, but they weren't, how to say, they weren't curated by people, or they weren't noticed, or they just couldn't follow their guts or something. But over, I think, the past few years, I've seen a lot of new talents coming up.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of judging as well for a few competitions, and I've gone to schools, I've had interns. There are amazing talents out there. But I guess where I stand right now, I mean, I won't consider myself successful. I don't know, how do you measure success?
Yeah.
I think you just have to be consistent, and you have to keep true to your own aesthetic. That sets you apart from the pack, you know. And I guess building a good relationship with your customers are very important as well. It's very important.
Yeah.
Then they would talk about you. It's all about word of mouth, really. Yeah. And that's how you get to know me as well.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And well, Heidi Klum always says, you know, in fashion, one day you're in and the next day you're out.
Yeah.
So it always sounds like a very scary thing, because you can be like the sensation this year, and the next year you could be like nobody.
That's why I said you have to be consistent. I think that it all boils down to what I said earlier. There's something about fashion that makes people very nervous. So I guess that's one of it, you know.
I'm also curious here where when I think of fashion, it's not only about clothes. You see, it could be shoes, bags, or even the hairstyle, or even the what we wear as like in the watch or earring. What's your okay? You said you mentioned about the focus. So what's your focus? Is it mainly the clothing, or
Yes,
it could be
I've
adjusting?
tried
Yeah.
doing shoes as well, but you
Yeah.
know, that didn't happen really quite well. But at least I've tried. You know,
Yeah.
I think being a fashion designer, you're basically designing a lifestyle. It's head to toe. It's from the hair, the makeup,
Yeah.
the accessory. So sometimes I'm like a stylist to my clients. You see, so when they usually order something,
Yeah.
what I would usually take them through a journey and say, oh, you do this hairstyle, you know, you have this hair or have this makeup or some things you have to buy, you know, to make it. Oh, I have this earring, and then you put it on, and it's very different. So you kind of build a good relationship with them, and this is not something that I'm forced to do. It's something that I really want to do, and I feel happy doing it. So I think being able to carve a lifestyle for people, it's more than a fashion designer. So
And
our
fashion
job-
kind of dictates your identity as well.
Exactly.
Sometimes you can tell a lot about a person just from the way they dress.
Yes,
although some
yes.
people don't believe in it,
Mhm.
and they're like, "Oh, if you want to know me, you have to get to know me, and not based on what I wear." What's your take on that?
I think what you wear tells people a lot of your personality, but also I've seen some people who really like dressing in different styles every day. That just makes the person very mysterious, because you never know what she's gonna or he's gonna come out with, you know, today. I've got friends who, you know, today you'll see him in a really elegant dress, the next day it's all punk rock, you know. So I think these kind of people, they're quite interesting. It makes you feel that you want to get to know them more. But I guess simplicity is always, you can't go wrong.
Do you have a particular style that you like to follow?
Myself?
Yes, you're
Well, I'm basically a tee and jeans kind of guy,
Okay.
and you know, I like wearing comfortable stuff. I go through phases.
Okay.
Like at one point, I was wearing a lot of colors, and then now I'm just all black and neutrals. I guess when you grow older, you tend to change your style a
Yep.
little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
At one point, I was going through this purple phase where everything I buy was purple, and then I was going through this phase where I buy everything yellow, and then it's interesting because then when you think back, oh my God, did I really buy that one? And was I really wearing that shirt?
Oh.
You kind of grow with yourself, I guess. Your
That's
taste
really interesting.
changes, and I guess in terms of what I wear, but what I do, it's always the same.
And when someone comes to you and asks for fashion advice, I think every designer has like a certain things that they would call like the staple items or essential items
Yep,
that you
yep.
need to have.
The must-haves.
The must-haves, yeah. So what will be yours?
I have a shrug called Paulina. It's made of silk crepe. So basically, it's like a shawl, but at the same time, it acts like a shrug. So it's very done up and it's very easy to wear, like one size fits all. It's luxurious. And I've had that for a good 7 years.
Okay.
I think I started that idea in 2009, inspired by a friend called Pauline. I wonder if she's hearing this. She had this knitted shrug on, and I thought, oh, maybe I could make a luxurious one out of it.
Okay,
You know, like
okay.
a silk. And then I tried the sampling in the satin, and then I figured I want it to be luxurious. So now Paulina is one of the bestseller, and I still have it in the shop.
So you named it after her.
Yeah. So Paulina. You see, that's how. If you ask me where I get my inspiration, I usually get inspired by people around me. You know, maybe you too would inspire me sometimes.
Oh.
No, I'm
So I
seeing
think-
Paulina's silk shrug.
I'm seeing mustard. I'm seeing pink. So you know, maybe next collection.
Actually,
I
I'm
don't
a
know.
very jeans and tank top
Mhm.
kind of person as
Mhm.
well. Because I actually don't know how to be stylish. If you,
But
yeah.
sometimes, you know, I guess your face is very important.
Mhm.
Your makeup, how you. I guess if you put on a smile, that's the best outfit ever.
Honestly speaking, I wouldn't expect to hear that from
Mhm.
like a fashion designer.
Well, I guess it all boils down to head to toe, really. So if you
okay.
look really beautiful but you're not smiling, then what's the point? Right?
And I want to ask you, since you've been in the industry for 6 years, what are like some of the major differences that you've observed from back then and right now?
Well, obviously, people are more savvy now. We call it the social media era, where back then when I started, there wasn't Facebook was there, but it wasn't active because now everyone has a smartphone. You know, almost everyone's on Instagram. Even my aunties on Instagram. Like, it's funny because yesterday I was just at a party and people are saying, "Oh, we're stalking you on Instagram," and these are much older friends. You know, they're probably in the early 50s or late 40s, and you would think, "Oh wow, so these people are actually on Instagram," and it's really easy to market your product or a lifestyle because people want to see what you're doing, and what other ways that it's easier than this. Post a picture on Instagram and everyone's following, liking, and it's free. So I don't see why. Types have changed. So
it's another platform for marketing,
and people
also
are even
promote
selling
your
clothes
online
through Instagram.
Exactly. They're doing marketing. I don't know, like there's a lot of spam and scams as well.
Yeah.
So we just have to be careful. But it's times have changed. Like people just look you up on Facebook. If you're not, you're just not relevant.
So it's easier now that there's all these social media platforms.
I'd say it's easier also, but also it's a bit more challenging because there's more and more brands out there, and there are more and more younger people who wants to do this. So you're up against a lot of like you said, competition, but I guess you just have to be consistent and believe in yourself. And do what you believe in. Yeah.
We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we will talk more about your fashion experiences.
Sure.
ASEAN Breakfast Call Dialogue, widening your horizons.
Hello and welcome back to Durian ASEAN. You're still with Gowri.
Still with Grace.
And still with Justin.
Justin, hello. Hi, everyone.
You're okay, Justin?
Yep, I'm very good.
So we want to ask Justin about his inspiration now. Where do you normally draw your inspirations from? Because some people, it can be from a song. Some people just go and take a walk. So how does it work
I
for
don't
you?
limit myself.
Okay.
I get inspired by everything I see and everything I hear. Mainly, I get inspired by people. Because they are the ones wearing the clothes.
Right.
So I like to be realistic that way. But, by looking at an art piece or these walls, that I'm looking at, it gives me inspiration as well. Modern art, really, that's how I get my colors from. And also, I like sculptures.
Okay.
They sometimes when you look at something, they just speak to you in a way. So that's how I relate to, clothing as well.
And when you come up with these inspirations, do you start sketching right away? You always carry a sketchbook with you?
I have my sketchbook in my bag all the time. I mean, now I use a smartphone, so times have changed. With a Note 3, you could whip out the stylus and start sketching, and it's pretty amazing.
And Grace was just looking through your collection.
Yes, and then you told me about your colors, that you wanted to put before, but I like this specific the dresses that you put on your website, especially with the gold nude color with the black
the black
combination.
And nude, yeah. That was showcased during Stylo Fashion Week in 2013. That was last year's collection. It was an amazing platform. I showcased with Indonesian designers and Hong Kong designers. It was really fun. That collection, I mean, at that time I was feeling a little bit, I guess when I do my collection, it depends on how I feel, and at that moment I was just feeling black, so I just do a lot of black.
Okay.
And now I still do a lot of black because I think it's very, it's a very mysterious color.
Yeah.
That contrast just makes it very me, but at the same time, other people haven't seen me doing that sort of color range before, and it also sets myself a challenge, because then it's something quite foreign to me. And it's not easy for me to do it, but I just followed my instinct, like I said, and it turned out quite well.
And then basically, it depends on your like mood or emotional feelings when it comes to fashion. And then when you have a whole collection, you will have the story behind all this, right?
Exactly.
So, okay, the last year collection, the one I mentioned, what was the story behind it? Like you just felt black, but then it's not only about the feeling black.
I guess it's a journey that we will all walk through. You know, when you look at collections, that you think about a girl. You know, who's this girl? Is she mysterious? Where is she going? I guess there's always this Justiny Up girl behind, you know, the label. So this girl has grown into a woman, and in that collection, she's a very lavish girl. You know, she, you know, I was thinking where she was going. You know, who she would meet. You know, where she would go. Therefore, the dresses. You know. So there was a lot of silk, there was a lot of bling bling, and there was a lot of beading as well. All these glass crystal that was embellished on the strap of the dress. It just gives it very and very what do you call it, opulent look to it. You know, so I mean, it's always the aesthetic, but it's how I bring the girl.
So you say you always bring a girl, but you have a men's line in your
same
fashion.
thing, because you just have to change the guy to a girl, a girl to a guy, for instance.
Yeah, but in the fashion, right? A lot of people think it's a feminine thing, like I mentioned before. But when it comes to men's fashion, what is the biggest challenge? Because I know the time has changed and it's still changing. But when it comes to fashion, how is the reaction from men or boys?
Well, surprisingly, my men's collection received quite a good good following of people, and it you know, friends around me has been asking, when are you gonna do your men's line? And that's how I got started. And also, Elegantology came on board, so I'm still stocking with them. It's patronized by Martell.
I see.
And it's in Publica. So if you go by Publica, do check it out. And when did I start? In 2013, end of 2013. So it was a great opportunity. It just knocked on my door, but you know, and I just took it. I said, "Oh wow, let's do this," you know. And I just started making a lot of shirts. You know, a shirt is shirt, pants are pants. You know, so you can't really go too crazy with silhouettes. Otherwise, it just looks like runway pieces or avant-garde. For me, keeping the cut really slim is important, because nowadays men are really savvy. They know what they want, and you have all these high street labels that offers everything. So what I did for the men's line is just wiping everything clean. You know, just keep the lines very simple. So you just have like short sleeve, long sleeve, and then just play with the cuts. I did a lot of asymmetrical cuts, which are very hard to tailor, because when something is so streamlined and minimal, it's it's very hard to make it look nice. So that's the challenge. So precision is the key. And we use a lot of nice cottons. So all these important fabrics, you get cotton sateen, you got the woven ones. Nowadays I'm using a lot of the premium cottons as well, which are jacquard. So they're kind of woven, they're not just printed. So all these little things we have to walk through our customers, because they otherwise they just say, oh, why is it 400 or 500 ringgit? But when you tell them, then they could relate to the price point. And also we don't produce big quantities, so everything you see is
limited.
Yeah, limited, and probably we produce less than 10 pieces per style. So that's really limited.
But who are your target audience when it comes to men fashion?
I don't target my customers because sometimes it surprises me. Like a 19-year-old will come and say, "I want to buy a shirt," and then and then you get a very successful CEO and comes and make my suit. You know, something like that. So I guess
it depends on the client.
Yeah, it depends. I have a 17-year-old client and up to like 60-year-old lady.
Wow,
so it's a very big, it's a huge. What do you call that? A frame. So I don't set targets, because for as long as people want to look good, they can come to me. Yeah, a lot of people say, "Oh, but I'm not this size. I'm not this or I'm not that." I say, "No, no worries. I design for everyone." You know, I think being a good designer, you are able to make clothes for everyone.
So do you usually make your clothes first and then people come in, or do you actually have people coming in and telling you what they want? Like, can you make this for me?
Yeah, usually they'll bring a reference.
Okay.
And from there, I will tell them, you know, whether or not the style suits them. Often than not, I'm very straightforward. And I'm very honest. If I feel that, say, an A-line skirt wouldn't suit you, then I wouldn't suggest that. Yeah. I've told a lot of customers what really suits them, and sometimes they believe me because you have to trust me to come to me.
Of course.
Of course.
And sometimes I remember having this client, and she has never worn colors in her life. All she wears was
Black.
yeah, like neutrals,
Oh,
like
I
black,
see.
gray, khaki, and all that. And then I made her wear this bright turquoise dress, and a few months later she came back and thanked me for how making her feel good about herself, and of all the attention and compliments that she gets from the dress.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess the goal is always the same. If you wear something that is made by me and it's not you're not noticed, or you didn't get a compliment, then I'm sure there's something wrong with it.
Well, there's a lot of TV shows as well with all this fashion police, what not to wear, and all these makeover shows. And there's been a lot of criticism as well. Like, why would you step in and tell someone how to dress, or like tell them what not to wear?
Well, my take, I think, fashion is very subjective. Really, I think if you feel that something that makes you feel good, then you're good, because the definition of beauty is very different, and it varies among individuals. I think if you feel that you're beautiful, then you're beautiful. But if you feel that you're not, then something is wrong.
Okay. Let's move on to your experience in the KL Fashion Week.
KL Fashion. I had a really good time at KL Fashion Week. They are very professional. I mean, it's organized by Andrews Models, if you know. Andrews Models has been around for like more than 20 years, I think 25 now. And then Andrew decided to do this fashion week, which is awesome because we had a lot of all these fashion weeks, and they had rooms to improve. Andrew worked 6 or 7 months ahead of the event, and it gives us enough time to prepare. And the team is amazing. They had an amazing team behind the whole organization, and there wasn't any hiccup at all. I mean, I have no problems with the whole show, and the curation was also really good because it sets yourself a challenge, because you know that you're showing at KL Fashion Week, and they only pick the best out of the best. And every show, I'm blown away. I was there a couple of days, and all this collection. I think Malaysian fashion has world-class potential.
Were there any notable designers or anyone you particularly liked after?
Obviously, I liked Kun Hui's. It was really good. Nurita Harith, very awesome collection. She showcased a really languid, fluid frocks. It was separates, but it's to me. I feel that it was New York quality.
Oh.
Yeah, Kun Hui's obviously. I mean, he's very good at what he does. Also, who else did I really like? There was this Filipino designer, Anthony Ramirez. So he came to showcase. I think every year there's a guest designer from overseas. I think last year they had Ashley Isham from Singapore, and I think he's based in London now. And also this Rico Rinaldi, he
I love his design. My
really
friend, in fact, she
beautiful.
bought a wedding dress from him. It was so beautiful.
He's a very quiet designer, but his clothes are amazing.
Yeah.
Shomei Zwa showcased a really easy to wear cruise resort collection. So it reminds me of Central Bay. There's a lot of like stripes and nautical kind of inspiration, but very feminine styles. I think that's one of his signatures as well, because he showcased the color block over the past few years, I think. And yeah, he's a very good friend of mine as well. And who else? Let me think.
That's okay.
Yeah, so many. There was a good 5-6 days of shows. So every day there's, I don't know, 6 slots, and every slot has 4 designers. So you figure it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was the experience in terms of things that it has taught you? What?
Well, being able to showcase at KL Fashion Week, obviously you have to do a ready-to-wear collection. And I think for us, we don't mass produce our clothing. So the challenge is when you do a ready-to-wear collection, you have to be able to sell to buyers. when
Okay.
when they come and ask you, you should have a line sheet, which basically tells the collection, sort of like a lookbook, and on all these it needs a lot of time and money to produce.
Right.
Like the photographer, you have to hire a model, and then you have to do all the coding for your
Oh,
you know,
yes,
your
items.
your
Yeah.
items,
Yeah.
like SKU they call
Yeah.
it, and then you have your wholesale price and what sizes does it come in. So all this, it takes a lot of time to learn and to prepare, and I think a lot of Malaysian designers don't have that.
Okay.
So in order for us to compete in the international level, we have to be ready with this kind of what do you call that, pattern or
More of a system, is it?
yeah, more of a system. So if the system is not there, then it's very hard for us to compete. That's why buyers don't want to come here,
Right.
because Malaysian designers are not ready to do this. They have amazing clothes,
Okay.
but this is the way it's done overseas. You know, when there's a trade show, it's not always just fashion show. They
Uh-huh.
have booths. You
Uh-huh.
know, you have to sit down with your salesperson, and then you talk them through your collection, like 6 months before they order it, and then once they order, you have like I don't know, like 3 months to produce and stuff like that. So
You
Is it
very
mentioned.
tough.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, is it usually funded, or you have to come up with your own budget for the photography, the
Usually
models?
on your own.
Okay.
And unless you're being funded by a company or
Right.
something.
Oh.
But
If you
so
have a CEO,
the
then it's
the
different.
KL Fashion Week, they just pick out who they want, and then eventually it's down to you to do all the
Yes,
work.
the platform is given to you, so you do the work. Like
Okay.
you have to hire your own, front house people to do your seating, your invitation. You know, it's a very interesting process, and it's also very time consuming, because then you have to kind of come out with an idea of the invitation
Yep.
or what you're going to put in your goodie bag. You know,
Right.
it's not easy, but
Yeah.
you need a good team to help you.
Of
'Cause
course.
one person just cannot do it, because you have to figure out the creative side, and you have to do the production, the sampling, the fittings. It's fun. It's really fun. I mean, I've done fashion shows like so many times, but KL Fashion Week was just a very different experience altogether.
It's a whole different level
Yeah, it's a whole
altogether.
new level. Yeah, and they've already booked us for next year.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
That's how
wonderful.
they work. That's how
Yeah.
fast they work. I mean, I'm really impressed with people who work that way.
So we'll be expecting to see a new collection from
Yes.
Justin.
Yes.
Yep.
I thought
I've already think about what I want to showcase.
Oh, that's
I
you know?
thought she was gonna
Awesome.
say we're expecting an invite or something.
No, definitely. I would love to
I'll
see the
invite
whole
you
new
guys, yeah.
collection. I also want to ask you, Justine, where when it comes to fashion, okay, mass, our public audience, we have this mindset of international brand and a local brand, right? And then we still like it looks like we trust more on international brands still. And how do you come about? What's your view on this?
Well, the thing is, that is the challenge of
Okay.
Malaysian designers, because there's so many high street labels, where I call them disposable fashion, because you
Why?
buy.
Oh,
It's like disposable plate. You eat on
Okay.
it one time, and then you just throw it away, because these quality don't last you forever. You know, you have brands where you can buy, say, a shirt, and then you wash it 3 times and it's gone. You know,
Yeah, you
it's
get
the-
to have a little
yeah,
holes
the
on your
holes
t-shirt.
or
Yeah.
the seam starts ripping.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people don't mind buying because they're inexpensive, and I guess it depends on what you want in life, really. So it's like, if you want to buy a $3,000 bag, or you want to buy a 30 ringgit wallet or something like that, it's the quality of the product for the price you pay. I think there's no point in targeting people who buys these clothes. You know, I mean, a lot of them tends to just buy and don't care and wear them, but there are also people who are willing to spend a little bit more to get quality. So these would be the people who come to me, and yeah, I mean, there's no wrong to buy all these inexpensive clothes. I just feel that there's more and more coming in to Malaysia that sets like huge challenges for local brands as well. We're not just talking about independent labels. We're also talking about big establishments, you know. So I'm sure it has affected them in many ways. And well, I do support local brands.
Yes.
like we have Seed and all that. I do wear their clothes. They're still trying very hard, and they're still doing very well in terms of following what's trendy and what's I don't know, like a lot of people are going for Alexander Wang right now.
Yeah.
But I guess you just have to know whether it suits you or not.
Yep, for
It's
sure.
like a friend just told me, you don't want to wear a scuba diving suit on the street. You look really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel that it's not my style.
I
mean,
see.
I like it. But you have to know what suits you.
Because when we think of a fashion, we think of Italy. We think of France,
Yeah,
like
New York.
Milan and New York. Yeah, that's correct. So Malaysia, I believe that it's still progressing in terms of recognition.
It has improved along the way. I've been to all these fashion capitals, and interestingly, the people who are there, they're really stylish. I mean, in Paris, not so much really, and in Milan, the Milanese are really stylish. I won't call them fashionable, but they're very stylish.
What is the difference between being stylish and fashionable?
You see, the thing is, being fashionable, you're wearing trends.
Okay.
So you
Well, being
follow
stylish,
trends.
Oh, okay.
you're basically buying fashion and wear the style. So I see a lot of very stylish men in Italy, and obviously, the sartorial tailoring, they're amazing. And like, on a 20-degree day, they will be wearing a suit. And they look good in it. All these sunnies, and the ladies are obviously really well dressed as well. They wear high heels on cobblestone streets. Can you imagine how hard it is to walk? Yeah, in Paris it's very different. People are wearing a lot of flats instead, unless you go to Champs-Élysées there's a lot of tourists, or you go to this place, Rue Saint-Honoré, where all the luxury labels are, and people there are very different. Where else? In London is a melting pot of culture, and over there people are really savvy as well, but they're a little bit more relaxed in what they wear. Yeah.
Then how would you categorize Malaysians?
Yeah.
Well,
Good question.
yeah, it's. I often like to say it's like a plate of rojak. You get a bit of this, a bit of that, but in a good way. We have our fashionable people who only wears, I don't know, like chic clothing, but you also get the rebellious one who wants to look like A Wang or Balenciaga, or those that aspire to look. I don't know. I guess they call themselves hipsters.
Yes.
I don't particularly like the word, but they set themselves apart, away from the the usual, the conventional type. So they think they're unconventional. I don't know, but that sets the contrast. We've got the really I don't care type.
I don't care.
And we've got the really chic type, and we have the hipsters. So it's all good. I mean, we have everything. I guess it's the same in every country.
I see, but again, Malaysia is pretty diverse when it comes to fashion as well.
True. Speaking in terms of Malaysia, do you think the different cultures actually tends to affect their sense in fashion?
Not so much.
Not so much.
But I do feel that our Malay counterpart are quite stylish, and men are getting more and more savvy these days.
Oh.
Yeah, I see more stylish men than women nowadays on the streets.
Is it because of I don't know whether I should bring this up or not, but I'm just gonna do it anyways. Is it because of the Korean wave, the fashion wave? All those like Korean idols, the singers, the boy bands brought the sort of like trend to Malaysia.
I guess it's a big influence, like what they call K-pop.
K-pop, yeah.
I guess if someone is aspired to look a certain way, then they would idolize someone or something. So I guess that's the influence that they get from these pop stars. We also get, I've seen a lot of, the youngsters are trying to look like them, bleaching their hair blonde and their eyebrows, or putting contact lenses and stuff like that. It's not disturbing, but at least they're trying to look a certain way.
Better, yes.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, do you think that for most Malaysians we have our own style, or we tend to derive it from the West, or like Grace mentioned, from Korea?
It's a very tough question. I think people don't really care about this.
Okay.
We have our people trying to copy, or it's okay because all these we call referencing, right? I guess some people want to look like Grace Kelly, or some people want to look like J-Lo.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, if you can, why not?
Is there any local fashion designer that you look up to and you aspire to be like someday?
Yeah, of course, Kun Hui has always been an idol. Sunny San as well. He's really successful. Yeah, the two of these people that I really look up to.
So we're almost at the end of our segment, and before we wrap things up, maybe you have some message or some hopes for the local fashion industry. What's the way forward? What do you wish to see people doing more? Or
I'd say if you want to be in fashion, you have to be 200% sure.
Okay.
Because it's not an easy industry to be in. But if you feel that this is what you want to do, just go ahead, follow your guts. Your guts will always tell you the most honest answers. And in time, you know.
Oh, wow, that's pretty deep. Well, New Year is coming on in a few days.
Yeah.
And then don't forget, we have Justin Yap's new collections, and he has already his ideas
We're
of what to
working
put
very
up.
hard already.
Yes, so we'll expect to hear and also see a new collection of Justin Yap, and so stay tuned.
Actually, since she brought that up, I want to ask you: do you have a New Year's resolution?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my
Career-wise.
every year is all the same, like create better dresses.
Okay.
Yeah, if you like to check out my work, you can go to my website. It's www.justin-yap.com. And you can contact me via the website as well.
And where is your store located?
It's located at 145 Jalan Tun HS Lee, second floor Lee Rubber Building. And that's near Chinatown in a really beautiful colonial building.
So thank you so much, Justin,
Thank
for
you.
coming
Thank you
in
for having
today
me.
and sharing your insights.